The stars above were endless, shining like cold fires in the sky. A lone human explorer named Daniel moved carefully across the alien wasteland, his boots crunching against the red soil. He had come on this mission to collect data about strange signals coming from this part of space, but he had never expected what he was about to find. The air was heavy, filled with a strange humming sound. Daniel raised his scanner, looking at the blinking lights. The device showed life readings ahead, something small, weak, and fading. He followed the signal until he reached a half-destroyed alien structure, broken walls glowing faintly with strange energy. Inside, Daniel found a child. It was not human, yet not fully alien either. Its eyes were large and bright, glowing softly like two tiny moons. Its skin carried strange patterns that shimmered in the light. The child looked fragile, almost too weak to move. Daniel knelt beside it, unsure what to do. Then something happened that froze him completely. The child lifted its hand and touched Daniel's chest. Its voice was soft but clear. "Father," it whispered. Daniel's heart stopped. For a moment, he pulled back, his mind racing. How could this alien child call him that? He had never seen it before, yet there was something strange. Its face carried a small, almost human expression. Before he could think further, shadows moved outside. Alien soldiers entered, tall and armored. Their weapons glowing, they saw the child and pointed at Daniel, their voices sharp and full of anger. One of them shouted words Daniel could not understand. But the message was clear. They wanted the child. The child clung to Daniel tightly, refusing to let go. Again it cried, "Father," its small body shaking in fear. Daniel raised his hands, trying to show he meant no harm, but the soldiers did not care. They moved forward, weapons aimed at him. Daniel's mind raced. If he left the child, he might live, but something deep inside told him he could not. The child was afraid, and somehow it trusted him. Daniel felt a strange bond forming, something he could not explain. He grabbed the child and ran deeper into the ruins. Energy blasts struck the walls around him, shaking the ground. Dust filled the air as Daniel ducked behind broken pillars. The child pressed its face against his chest, whispering "Father" again and again. Daniel's heart burned with confusion and fear. Why would this child see him as family? Was there some hidden truth he did not know? He found a passageway leading down into the ruins. Dark and narrow, the soldiers followed, their voices echoing behind him. Daniel ran as fast as he could, his breathing heavy, his muscles screaming. In pain, finally, he reached a chamber where old alien symbols glowed faintly on the walls. Oh, the air here was different, ancient, powerful. The child touched the symbols, and suddenly the whole room lit up. A bright wave of energy pushed back the soldiers who tried to enter. The child looked at Daniel with wide eyes, as if expecting him to understand. Daniel stared at the glowing symbols. They showed images of humans and aliens together, connected, united. One image showed a human standing beside a crowned alien figure, a queen, and in her arms a child that looked very much like the one Daniel now held. His chest tightened as questions filled his mind. Could this be the child of an alien queen? If yes, then why did it call him father? The child leaned closer and whispered something Daniel barely caught. "You came back," it said softly. Daniel's blood ran cold. The soldiers outside screamed in rage, trying to break through the glowing barrier. Daniel knew this was only the beginning. Somehow, his fate was now tied to this strange child, and the universe would not stay quiet about it. He looked down at the small figure clinging to him. The child's eyes shined with trust and something else, something powerful. Daniel had no answers, only fear and responsibility. Whatever truth was hidden here, it would shake more than just his own life. It would shake the entire galaxy. For now, he could only hold the child close and prepare because the real encounter had only just begun. The alien skies burned red as the news spread across the royal city. Every citizen, every soldier, and every court official was whispering in fear and confusion. The child of the mighty alien queen had called a human father. And the universe seemed to pause in shock. The queen herself sat on her high throne. Her eyes cold and sharp like twin blades. Her guards approached carefully, bowing low. They explained how the human had taken the child into the ruined lands. How he had avoided capture with speed and cleverness. The queen's face darkened, her hands tightening around the edge of the throne. No one had ever dared defy her in this way, especially with her most precious child. Meanwhile, Daniel and the child moved through the alien wilderness. The child held his hand tightly, small fingers pressing into his palm. "Father," it whispered. Again, looking up with wide, trusting eyes, Daniel shivered, not just from fear, but from the strange bond growing between them. He did not know why the child called him that. But he felt a responsibility he had never known back in the city. The queen summoned her elite warriors. The shadow guards, they were silent, deadly, and loyal only to her. She gave a single order, her voice echoing through the hall. "Bring my child back, no matter the cost," she commanded. The guards bowed and disappeared into the night. Leaving only silence behind, Daniel ran through the ruins. Following the faint energy traces, the child seemed to sense. Every step was tense. Every shadow could hide danger. The child's small body pressed against his side. Trembling, it spoke. In soft tones, "They are coming." "Father," Daniel's mind raced. How could he fight these warriors? He was only one human, and the queen's forces were strong, disciplined, and deadly. High above, the alien queen rode her starship through the skies. Her face was a mask of anger and confusion. She had ruled many worlds, defeated countless enemies. Yet nothing prepared her for this. Her child, her own blood, had chosen a human, a weak, untested, unworthy human. Her mind screamed with fury. But a small part of her hesitated. Why did the child not cry, not resist, but hold on to him with trust? Daniel ducked into a narrow canyon, hoping to lose the pursuers. The child whispered again, "Father, don't let them take me." Daniel felt a surge of determination. He would not let anyone harm this child, not the queen, not the soldiers, not even the universe itself. He carried the child carefully, moving through rocky paths. Avoiding the glowing patrol drones above, the queen's warship landed on the canyon rim, its engines glowing like molten fire. The shadow guards leaped down, weapons raised. They moved with perfect coordination, like shadows blending with the dark. Daniel knew he could not fight them head-on. He needed a plan, but time was slipping. Fast, the child tugged at his sleeve, whispering, "Father, they can't find us if we hide together." Daniel looked around and spotted a hidden cave, partially collapsed. He ran inside with the child, breathing heavily. The cave smelled of damp rock and ancient dust, but it offered safety. The shadow guard stopped at the entrance. Scanning carefully, Daniel held the child close, feeling its heartbeat against his chest. He whispered, "We'll find a way. We'll survive this." Inside the cave, the child reached out to the walls, touching symbols etched long ago. The symbols glowed faintly. Reacting to the child's presence, Daniel realized the child had powers, strange and ancient. Perhaps that was why the queen's soldiers hesitated. They felt the child's energy, a force beyond their understanding. The child looked at Daniel, eyes shining. "Father, I will help us," it said softly. Far above, the queen watched through her ship's sensors, fury boiling inside her. She had never doubted her power, never questioned her rule. Yet this human, this fragile creature, had moved her child. Something about the bond between them unsettled her. Her mind raced. Was it rebellion? Or something far older? Something she could not control? Daniel and the child sat in the cave, listening to the soldiers searching outside. The child whispered stories of a hidden world, a secret part of the alien planet no one dared enter. Daniel's curiosity grew along with fear. He realized the child might hold the key to survival, to understanding, to everything that had happened and everything yet to come. The queen's anger raged, but her child's choice had planted a seed of doubt in her heart, and in that moment, Daniel knew. The real journey had only just begun. The alien night was quiet, broken only by the distant hum of patrol ships above. Daniel sat in the hidden cave, the child pressed close to him. Its small hands clutched his shirt. Its glowing eyes staring up with trust and hope. He could feel a strange connection forming, something he had never felt before. It was more than protection, more than care. It was like a part of him had awakened. He thought back to his past missions, to the times humans had explored alien worlds, to the experiments they had witnessed and survived, and suddenly, a chilling thought struck him. Had his own life been connected to this child all along? He looked at the child again, studying the patterns on its skin. The glow in its eyes seemed familiar, almost like a reflection of his own energy. Could it be that the child saw something in him he did not yet understand? Outside the cave, the shadow guards prowled carefully, their weapons glowing softly. Daniel could hear them, feel their presence. He knew they were strong, disciplined, and trained to follow orders without hesitation. But he also knew the child's powers were growing, reacting to the fear and tension around them every time the child touched the glowing symbols on the cave walls. The energy pulsed, and every pulse seemed to push the alien soldiers back, just slightly, enough to give them a chance. Daniel took a deep breath, speaking softly to the child. "Do you understand why you called me father?" he asked. The child shook its head, its tiny face serious. "I do not know," it said, voice trembling. "I just knew." Daniel's heart ached with both confusion and wonder. How could a child so small hold a secret so large? A secret that might change the fate of entire worlds. The cave's walls shimmered with ancient energy as the child moved closer. It pressed its small hand against Daniel's chest again, and a warmth spread through him. Memories he had never known began to surface. Flashes of strange places and strange faces. Faces of humans long gone, mixed with the glowing patterns of alien royalty. Daniel realized with a shock he had been part of something bigger. Something hidden. This child was not just an alien or a hybrid. It was a bridge. A link between humans and aliens. And somehow, it had chosen him as its guide, its protector, its father, outside. The Queen's forces were not idle. They began to analyze the cave's energy, trying to understand the strange pulses. Daniel knew they would return stronger, smarter, with plans to capture the child no matter what. He whispered to the child, "We have to learn your powers. Your past, everything." The child nodded, eyes glowing brighter. "I will try, Father," it said, determination in its voice. Together, they began to explore the cave, discovering ancient symbols, devices, and hidden writings. Daniel touched one of the glowing symbols, and a vision flashed before his eyes. He saw humans and aliens working together, creating something extraordinary. He saw experiments, not cruel, but meant to unite, to create understanding, and in the vision, he saw a small child, his child being placed in alien care. The child had always been searching for him across space and time, and now, after years of hidden paths, they had finally found each other. The child tugged at his sleeve, leading him deeper into the cave. They found a small pool of liquid, glowing with soft energy. The child touched the pool. The symbols on the walls shifted. Suddenly, Daniel saw himself reflected in the liquid. Not as he was, but as someone connected to the alien lineage. The child looked at him, eyes wide. "Father, this is our path," it said. Daniel's mind raced. realizing the queen's anger was not just because of defiance. It was because the child was meant to be more than anyone could understand. And now, Daniel had to guide it, protect it, and learn from it as the night grew deeper. The distant hum of the patrol ships faded, but Daniel knew this was only a pause. A quiet moment before the storm, he held the child close, feeling the energy between them, a human and an alien child. Connected by fate, by choice, by something. Older than both worlds, Daniel whispered softly, "I will not let anyone take you, my child." The child smiled faintly. And for the first time, the glow in its eyes shone with hope. Together, they prepared for what was coming, knowing the connection between them was only the beginning. The cave was quiet now, the only sound the soft breathing of the child against. Daniel's chest, outside the alien patrols, had retreated. But Daniel knew it was only a matter of time before they returned. He watched the child carefully, noticing the glow in its eyes. Brighter than before, something inside it was awakening. Something powerful and ancient. Daniel walked slowly through the cave, touching the walls covered in alien symbols. Each symbol seemed to pulse with energy. Reacting to the child's presence, he remembered the visions he had seen in the glowing pool humans and aliens had worked together long ago in secret experiments. Could it be that the child was not just special, but a product of those experiments? Daniel's mind raced, trying to understand. Trying to make sense of what the child really was, the child reached out to a large symbol on the wall. And suddenly, a hidden panel opened. Inside were old records, glowing softly with alien script. Daniel stepped closer, studying them. The records told a story no one was supposed to know. Long ago, humans and aliens had tried to create hybrids. Combining human courage with alien power, the goal was to create beings who could unite the two worlds, and the child in his arms was one of them. A forbidden creation. Daniel's heart pounded. The queen's anger made sense now. This child was meant to be hidden, protected from everyone. If anyone discovered its true nature, the balance of power in the galaxy could collapse. And now, the child had chosen him, calling him father. It had broken every rule, every law, every secret carefully guarded for centuries. The child touched another symbol. And more visions appeared on the walls, scenes of humans training with aliens. Learning to control energy, mastering strange powers. The child had learned things without even trying. Its abilities far beyond normal understanding. Daniel realized the child was not just a hybrid. It was a key, a bridge between species. It held knowledge and power that could change everything. And yet, it was still a child, innocent and small, trusting him completely. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from outside. Daniel froze. Knowing the shadow guards had found them again, he held the child close, whispering softly, "We must hide. We must be careful. And we must survive." The child nodded, its eyes glowing brighter in determination. Together, they moved deeper into the cave. Following the hidden passages, only the child seemed to know. As they moved, Daniel noticed strange markings on the walls. They told the story of the queen herself, a ruler who had made choices no one could question. She had hidden the child away, protecting it from enemies. But somehow, this child had found Daniel, calling him father. Daniel's mind could not stop spinning. Why had fate chosen him, a simple human, to guide the most important being in the galaxy? The child stopped suddenly, pointing to a small chamber ahead, inside. A glowing crystal floated above the ground, pulsing with energy. Daniel stepped closer, feeling the power radiating from it. The child touched the crystal, and memories of the queen appeared in his mind. He saw her decisions, her anger, her fear, and her love for this child, everything she had done to protect it, to hide it from the universe. And now, Daniel understood the full weight of his responsibility. He turned to the child, eyes wide. "You carry secrets older than the stars," he whispered. The child nodded slowly, glowing softly. "I know, Father, and I will help us," it said. Daniel felt a strange warmth in his chest, the bond between them growing stronger. Together, they had to survive, to understand the child's powers, and to face the queen if needed, because now the child's existence was no longer hidden, and the forbidden secret would change the fate of humans, aliens, and every world in between. Daniel held the child close as the cave pulsed with energy. He realized that this journey was only beginning. The galaxy was vast, full of dangers and mysteries. But with the child at his side, he felt a courage he had never known, a connection deeper than fear, deeper than reason. The forbidden secret had been revealed, and now they had to prepare for the challenges ahead. For the queen, for the galaxy, and for the child who had called him father. The alien skies glowed with streaks of red as Daniel and the child emerged from the hidden cave. The air was thick with tension, the distant hum of patrol ships a constant reminder of danger. Daniel held the child close, feeling its small hands. Gripping his jacket, every step forward was careful. Every shadow could hide a threat. The child seemed to sense paths Daniel could not see. It tugged him gently toward narrow canyons and rocky ridges. Every time they moved, energy pulses from the child's body shimmered faintly. Daniel realized the child's powers were growing stronger with fear and urgency. The patrols were relentless. But the child guided him with instinct and trust. He had never seen such intelligence and courage in a being so small. Above, the Queen starships sliced through the sky, their engines blazing. Her anger had not cooled, but a small hesitation lingered in her mind. She could not ignore the child's connection to Daniel. Her own blood called out across the void, a call no weapon could break. The shadow guards descended toward the canyon, their weapons glowing. They moved with precision, ready to strike. Yet careful not to harm the child, Daniel ducked behind a jagged rock. Holding the child close, the guards scanned the area. Their eyes glowing through helmets, Daniel whispered softly, "We cannot fight them directly. We have to outsmart them." The child nodded, pointing toward a narrow path hidden behind the rocks. Daniel followed, careful not to make a sound. Every heartbeat echoed in the canyon, as if the universe itself was watching. They reached an old alien structure, half buried in sand. The walls glowed faintly, showing signs of ancient energy. Daniel paused, realizing this place might be a refuge or a trap. The child stepped forward. Touching the walls, and symbols lit up with a soft glow, the energy formed a barrier, just enough to slow the advancing soldiers. Daniel felt relief mixed with awe. The child's powers were their only shield. From above, one of the queens starships hovered, scanning the canyon. The shadow guards communicated in sharp tones, coordinating their movements. Daniel knew they had to move quickly, or the patrols would corner them. He whispered to the child, "We need to keep moving." No matter what, the child looked at him, eyes glowing brightly, and nodded. Together, they ran through narrow passages, using every twist and turn to their advantage as they moved. Daniel began to notice the child's powers changing. It could sense danger before it happened, energy pulsing in response to threats. Every time Daniel looked at it, he felt a strange calm. Despite the fear, the child's presence gave him courage. He realized their connection was not just trust, but something older, something that linked humans and aliens in ways he could not yet understand. The patrols were relentless, their voices and footsteps echoing in the canyons. Daniel led the child through tunnels and ridges, trying to lose them. The child paused at a narrow ledge, pointing to a hidden passage. Daniel followed, his heart pounding. They climbed and crawled, hiding whenever light flashed above. The shadow guard's energy pulses grew closer. But the child always knew the next move. Finally, they reached a small valley, partially hidden. By rock formations, the child smiled faintly, as if proud of the path it had guided them through. Daniel whispered, "We are not safe yet, but this gives us a chance." The valley held strange ruins. Glowing with faint energy, Daniel realized the child might be leading him to an ancient place. A secret the queen had tried to hide, and he understood the chase was only the beginning, the real journey. The one that would uncover the child's powers and secrets had just begun. Daniel held the child close. Looking at the glowing ruins, the distant hum of the queen's starships reminded him of the danger still approaching. But in the child's eyes, he saw determination, trust, and hope. He whispered softly, "We will survive. We will discover the truth, and no one will take you from me." The child's glow brightened, and for the first time, Daniel felt they could face anything together. The chase had begun. But so had their adventure, and the secrets of the child would change everything. The valley stretched before Daniel and the child, quiet and mysterious. Ruins of an ancient civilization rose from the ground, glowing faintly with alien energy. The child's small hand reached out, pointing toward a hidden entrance half buried. Under stones, Daniel knelt, brushing the dust away, revealing a doorway carved with strange symbols. The air inside felt heavy, filled with a power long forgotten. He held the child close as they stepped into the darkness. The walls glowed faintly, illuminating corridors that twisted and turned. Every corner held secrets, strange devices, and symbols that Daniel could not understand. The child's fingers traced the glowing markings. And suddenly, panels slid open, revealing hidden rooms. Inside were machines, dormant but still alive with faint energy. Daniel realized they had discovered a hidden base, a place no human or alien had touched for centuries. The child looked around, eyes wide, glowing softly. "This is where it all began," it whispered. Daniel felt a chill run through him, understanding that the child knew more than it had shown. The base held records, devices, and technology from an age long before the queen's rule. As they walked deeper, they found a room filled with glowing crystals. Floating above the ground, the crystals pulsed with energy, reacting to the child's presence. Daniel stepped closer. Touching one of the crystals, visions flashed before his eyes, showing humans and aliens working together. Experiments combining human courage and alien power, creating beings meant to unite worlds. The child's eyes glowed brighter as it touched another crystal. Daniel saw the child's past, hidden and secret. The child had been designed, raised in secret, meant to be a bridge between species. And now, it had found him, calling him father, a connection no one could have predicted. Suddenly, a faint noise echoed from deeper within the base. Daniel froze. Listening carefully, the child's glow intensified, sensing something approaching. Daniel whispered, "Stay close. We must be ready." They moved cautiously. Following the glowing corridors, the base seemed alive, its energy reacting to the child and Daniel's presence. Every step forward revealed more secrets, more truths long buried. They reached a chamber filled with floating data crystals, each one containing records of experiments, missions, and hidden plans. Daniel carefully examined the crystals, learning how humans and aliens had secretly collaborated. The child touched one crystal, and a holographic image appeared, showing a human standing beside a crowned alien, ancient queen, and in her arms, a child resembling the one Daniel now held. The child's lips trembled. "This was me, before I was hidden," it whispered. Daniel's mind raced. Realizing the depth of the secret the queen had protected, the child was not just a hybrid. It was the key to understanding the past and the future. Suddenly, alarms echoed through the hidden base. Triggered by unknown sensors, Daniel grabbed the child, moving quickly through the corridors. Shadows flickered, machines activated, and energy fields lit up. It seemed the base itself was alive, testing them. Reacting to the child's awakening power, Daniel realized they could not stay long. The base held knowledge, but it also held danger. The Queen's forces would be here soon, guided by the energy pulses the child emitted. They found a small chamber at the heart of the base. Safe for a moment, the child pressed its hands to the walls, and a hidden message appeared, glowing in soft blue light. Daniel read the message aloud. Only the one chosen by the child can unlock the truth of the bridge. He looked at the child, understanding that he had been chosen. Not by accident, not by chance, but by fate itself. The child nodded, eyes glowing with purpose. Together, they were more than protector and ward. They were partners in a mission older than either of them could comprehend. Daniel held the child, close, whispering softly, "We must learn, we must survive, and we must face the Queen." The child smiled faintly, energy radiating around them. For the first time, Daniel felt hope. A sense of destiny. They had discovered the hidden base, the forbidden knowledge, and the truth of the child's origin. But the Queen's anger was still waiting, the universe still watching. And the journey ahead would test them in ways neither of them could imagine. The hidden base had revealed the first pieces of the puzzle, and now the real adventure was only beginning. Daniel and the child moved cautiously through the hidden base. Every corridor seemed alive with energy, the glowing symbols flickering as if watching them. The child's small hand gripped Daniel's tightly, its glow brighter than ever. A feeling of unease hung in the air, thick and heavy. Suddenly, the walls trembled, a low hum vibrating through the corridors. Daniel froze, realizing the base was reacting to something. The child's eyes widened, glowing fiercely. "It's coming," it whispered softly, almost afraid to speak. Daniel could feel a force unlike anything he had ever experienced. Something old, something ancient, something dangerous. From the shadows, a figure emerged, tall and terrifying. Its skin was dark and hard like stone, glowing veins pulsing with energy. It spoke without words, a presence felt in Daniel's mind. The child trembled, but did not let go of Daniel. Daniel understood immediately. This was the ancient enemy, a being that had existed long before the Queen's reign. It had been awakened by the child's presence, sensing a power it could not ignore. The enemy moved closer, energy crackling around it. Daniel held the child tightly, whispering, "We cannot run, we have to stand together." The child's glow intensified, pulses of power radiating through the room. Daniel could feel strength growing inside him too. A connection to the child. He realized they were linked, human and hybrid, together facing a threat that could destroy them both. The ancient enemy roared, a sound that shook the base. It raised its hands, and energy waves blasted the walls. Daniel and the child ducked behind a glowing crystal. Watching in fear and awe, the child's small voice echoed, "Father, I will protect us." Daniel felt warmth radiate from the child, a shield of energy forming around them. The enemy's attacks grew more furious, but each pulse seemed to strengthen the child. Daniel remembered the Queen's past, her anger, her protection. This enemy had existed long before her, a being that had tried to dominate all life. It had been defeated, sealed in the hidden base. And now, awakened by the child, it sought to destroy what it could not control. Daniel realized the child was more than a bridge. It was a key, a challenge, a weapon. And the universe was watching to see who would prevail. The child stepped forward, glowing brighter, its voice clear and commanding. "You will not take us." Energy pulsed from its small body, striking the enemy, who staggered backward, surprised. Daniel felt the power too, flowing through his own body. He raised his hands, joining the child, forming a bond of energy, neither human nor alien alone. could achieve, the enemy roared again, and the ground shook. But the child did not falter. Suddenly, visions flashed in Daniel's mind, showing him the enemy's past. It had once ruled a galaxy, feeding on fear and destruction. But it had been defeated by those who had united across species. The child held the same energy, the same potential to change the course of history. Daniel understood they could not defeat the enemy with weapons alone. They had to use the child's power and their connection to survive. The enemy charged. Energy crackling like lightning, Daniel and the child moved together, their pulses in sync. Every step forward strengthened their bond. Daniel whispered softly, "We are together. We are stronger, and we will not fail." The child's glow exploded in brilliance, striking the enemy with a force that shook the chamber. The ancient being faltered, confusion in its eyes. It had never faced something like this: unity, trust, and courage combined in a human and hybrid. The chamber fell silent, the enemy retreating into the shadows. Daniel held the child close. Breathing heavily, the child looked up, glowing faintly, and whispered, "Father, we survived." For now, Daniel nodded, realizing the danger was not over. The ancient enemy would return, stronger and more cunning, but together. They had proven their strength, their connection, and their courage. The child's trust had turned the tide. And Daniel understood the full weight of his responsibility. As they stood in the glowing chamber, Daniel realized this was only the beginning. The hidden base had revealed secrets, powers, and dangers. But the ancient enemy's awakening had shown them how much they still had to learn. He held the child close, whispering, "We will face everything together." The child smiled faintly, eyes glowing softly, and for the first time, Daniel felt hope, courage, and purpose. The journey was far from over. But together, they were unstoppable.